Assalamu Alaikum everyone, I'm and welcome back. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the solution of the project I gave you in the previous lesson. So let's begin. Now I'm gonna use a variable weather equal to input what's the weather. What's the weather? Going to ask us what's the weather. So let me just run my code. What's the weather? Hot. It doesn't do anything. Let us just write in what we want it to. If weather equals to hot, hot. Now I'm gonna just print out print drink plenty of water. Drink plenty of water. Run my code. Type in hot. Drink plenty of water. But what if I type in capital letter hot? We get nothing because this was in capital letter and we had set the condition to smaller. For this case, we are gonna set the weather to lower. Where you gonna use the lower method. It will lower it inside the condition. So next I want to ask is hey underscore haze underscore hasty put so is it hasty is it hasty and if hasty is uh, is underscore hasty equals to yes. Now again I'm gonna use the lower method easy. If it's hasty print what do I want to print do not go out. Yeah, big mistake. I'm not do not go out. My apologies. And bring plenty water. So if it's not hasty, else I'm gonna print drink plenty of water. So let me run the code. What's the weather? I type capital letter hot. So is it hasty? And I type no. Drink plenty of water. Run my code again. What's the weather? Hot. So is it hasty? Yes. Not go out. Drink plenty of water. So I'm gonna set a new condition as if weather dot lower using the lower method equals to warm or is underscore cloudy. Now we're gonna check if it's cloudy. Input is it cloudy? Cloudy. If it is cloudy, if it is underscore cloudy dot lower equals yes. Print out then oh my god then write your by side. But if it's not cloudy else print out then ride your bike or motorcycle or motorbike, whatever you want to call it. Then again we're gonna use the other. For now, let's just run our code. What's the weather? Warm. Is it cloudy? Yes, it is. Then ride your bicycle. Or why not the bike? I really want to ride the bike. Now next we're gonna add an elif. Whether it's cold or I think don't need to use or should we use whether equals to easy. Just gonna print out where from row and drink hot chocolate. So just add the lower method. So I think this is our code. I'm gonna run. What's the other? Let's say cold. Drink warm. Drink warm clothes and drink hot chocolate. Next again. Drink warm clothes and drink hot chocolate. Again. But what if I type in something, a random thing like sunny? It doesn't tell us anything. That's very rude. You don't have to do like that. The program was very rude. It's not good. So instead we're gonna provide an else statement. Print sorry, I didn't understand. Print our code. Let's run our code. Type in sunny. Sorry, I didn't understand. So this is it. That's our project. Now, so we have come to our solution next, and now I want to discuss about try except syntax used in Python. Now these are just blocks of code. So let me just introduce you the try method. Try. Now try except are used only when there is an error in Python that you don't know about or you think it's really kind of fluffy or really annoying. So I'm gonna set a variable called name, set it to Ahmad. Next I'm gonna call out if name is equals to Ahmad, then print out correct name. Just like what we had done. I run my code and I get name error. Name is not defined. Now I did not do it by mistake. I just wanted to show you we get a name error. Now for name, now for errors in Python we use try and except method. So just set our name to Ahmed. Now I'm going to just type in try Ahmed if and then accept accept in no, print an error. Okay, for error for if you error on your code. run it, and I get an error occurred on the code. Now let me explain you what I did over here. So here I'm using the try code block. Now this will try code block will not run as long as we don't get any error, as long as we don't get any error in this bunch of code. But if there's an error in this bunch of code, name error, variable error, integer error, any kind of error is inside of this bunch of code, it Python won't run the try block of code, the try code. It would then run the except code, except one. That's why we got an error occurred on your code. But if the try block is runnable and it has no errors, then Python won't execute the except method. You can say anything you want to say. Correct name. We get correct name. Next we have finally. We have another uh, try except method called finally. So this does whatever we want it to do, even though if the try and except methods are not executed. So let me just show you. Let us just print out be careful while program. Be careful while program. When I run my code and I get the correct name, be careful while programming. So even though this try block was runnable, it had no errors. The finally block was run. It was executed. But if I change my try block of code to just spit out an error, I'm gonna get an error occurred on your code. Be careful while programming. So even though our try block was not executed, our except block of code was executed, we would still get final. So we can use as much exceptions as we can. We can also use name error. These are just classes used in except. The name error occur. Let's just run this code and we get a name error occur. We can use this name error. We have value error. We have arithmetic error. We have lots of other errors, assertion attributes, case exception, import error, warnings, cab error, case error, and many others. You can play around with that. Not very harsh, not very difficult. So next I want to discuss file handling in Python. Now let me introduce you what file handling in Python is. File handling is just like uh, creating a program that would handle files for you. Now let me start by supposing that I have project.txt, the last thing that we use. Let me clear everything out. Project.txt over here, and I want to read everything that is inside of here. Read everything. Now, Python is very easy. It doesn't take any, you can say, uh, it's not very difficult. Not very much. It doesn't take much code. It's very simple, very easy. So let's get started. So I'm gonna type in a variable called f equals to, now we're gonna use the open function. Open function, it's not a class, but it's used as a function. Now I'm gonna first type in, so first I'm gonna type in the name of our file. So in this case, project.txt. Why am I writing so much? Project.txt. I'm gonna put these in single quotes, and then I'm gonna use a syntax, or you can say a keyword that is gonna describe whether I'm gonna uh, read my file, add something to my file, write the whole file, or create a new file. So I'm just gonna read my file. Now I'm gonna say f dot read. I'm gonna print that out. What I'm gonna read. Print. Let me just get a bunch of text over here, and the bar 1556. A bunch of text. Run it, and I get what I had written over here. If I use some spaces, tabs, and I get what I had actually done over here. So this is how I read. So next we have the append method, which is a, that I'm gonna use f dot write. Let's just say that, yeah, I'm just gonna write it, not print anything. Write. Let me see what I want to write. Name. Now I'm gonna use a variable and this in input and input. What's your name? What's your name? I'm gonna run it. I get an error. Well, I didn't use a comma. Comma is very uh, important. Now, what's your name? Ahmed. Oh my god. I should have used plus sign. Now run my code and everything is fine. Ahmed. But we didn't get anything. Why we didn't get anything? Because let me again open this. Let me run my code again. Ahmed. Run again. Tim. Run again. Bill. And now we get a bunch of very pathetic code. Let me just use called slash n. Now slash n means next line. So here I have name equals to Ahmed, Tim equals to uh, Tim, name equals to name equals to. So we have three kinds of data we had just appended inside of them. Now, what if I use the write method? Now I'm going to say write, run my code, going to say Ahmed. If I run it, now I get only Ahmed. If I type in Tim, now I get only Tim. Why? Because I'm writing the whole file. I'm writing the whole file in just this line of code. So this is the write method. You can say just like that. So next we have X as to create a file. Oh, I don't know how to. Let me just say f dot read write. Yeah, let me just write it something. Created a new file. Can use these. Oh yeah. Now if a file had already existed, it won't create a new file. So let me just remove this. Run it again and again. We get that error. I wanted to do that. Now I'm gonna delete this project.txt anyway. Run my code again and I get nothing. Why? Because my file was eventually created. I haven't written anything inside of that, but it's created. Now next, what do we have? Now files. Um, Next, if we I use the read method and type in print f dot read, this would read the whole text that is inside this. Let me just give it some random text. Now I'm gonna type in read line. Run my code. I get a. Now why a? Why an a? Because I had used the read line method that would only read the first line of my file, and if I want to read the next line, I would duplicate these methods and I would get A, B, C, D, just like it's over here. Now in print method there's something called end as a parameter and I'm gonna make it empty. Run my code and I very formattedly got ABC, very formatted. Now I want to introduce you to the Python import syntax, which is used to import. You can say file, import libraries, import modules. We do that. We do that using import, and then the name of our module, library, or file, or the Python file we use. Let me just create a Python file test. Here I have my test.py. I'm gonna create a function add to take an x to return x plus 2 So I'm going to say that if I use uh, print add to, I get this error. I get this error. Now, why I get this error? Because I don't have any reference of this add to function. And yes, of course, I don't have any reference of this add to function inside of this file. So now PyCharm would show me how to import this. I will just click on import. Now uh, I can just import test test dot dot test dot add to. So this is also okay. We can use form test import add to. That's just so here we're importing the test.py into this file. Now why don't we use .py with test? Because in Python the syntax is just stated that while importing modules or libraries or some files, Python wouldn't just get Python would automatically indicate that that is a Python file or Python library or Python module. So here I have it. So now if I run my code and I get 6 because was what our function had said. Now when we import anything, we always used to import everything from the top, but when we import anything, Python would first go to that file instead of just running this file, and that is very rude. It would go to this file and read everything. It would save the function and then come back to this file and run our very next code.